TG Geeks, episode 58, February 1st, 2016. Is winter over yet? I guess we'll find out tomorrow. Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the Two Gay Geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery. Sci-fi, comics, film, horror genre, you name it, we talk about it. I am Keith Lane, and we are coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona.
And I am Ben Raggington, also coming to you from lovely, I can't see my shadow anywhere, Phoenix, Arizona.
Exactly. Well, we have a really interesting and exciting interview in follow-up to an article that we published. So let's get right to it. And today we have a special guest for you, Kevin McKeever, from the VP of Marketing for Robotech at Harmony Gold. Welcome, Kevin.
Ben, Keith, thank you for having me.
Our pleasure.
Yeah. So we wanted to talk to you specifically about Robotech, and we'll give you a little bit of our background that we're anime.
We're newbies.
Newbies, shall we say. We haven't really followed anime. I mean, we appreciate anime. But as far as following any anime, it's not something that has been part of our wheelhouse, if you will. And we actually did watch the first episode of Robotech, and we bought it off of Amazon and watched it, and so that we would have some clue what we were going to be talking about with you. But the reason we wanted to talk with you, and I'm going to let Ben kind of explain that.
Well, one of our listeners who lives in Norway is a Robotech fan, and I should point out that for our website, we're always asking for people, if they want to submit an article, you want to write a story, want to write a review, hey, by all means. I mean, it's just the two of us, so we don't have time to always be submitting our own content to our own website. So,
and we don't know everything about everything.
No, we don't, even though we pretend to. And this friend of mine who lives in Norway, like I said, he's a big Robotech fan. He says, well, can I write a story on this? And I said, well, sure, by all means. So he sends me this article, which really was not so much a review or a news piece. It had a couple of news items in there, very few. It was mostly an opinion. So what happened is we published the article, and all of a sudden some interesting heat started to be generated about what he had written. And basically all he was really saying is, what comprised Robotech and what was he looking forward to. And we got some, how can I be nice about this?
It won't be, I wouldn't say hate tweets, but
they were not friendly.
We got called on the carpet and said, why would you even print something like that? That's pure speculation and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, called us everything but,
Yeah, it was not the nicest response
human
that we
beings.
got. Yeah, apparently somebody who's a huge Robotech fan really kind of called us on the carpet. He took some offense with this article that had been written. And it all revolved around the rights, specifically Macross.
And what Sony owns and what they are going to do.
What can Sony actually make in the upcoming movie? What can't they? What are they entitled to make, etc. So, and that's when I reached out to you so that we could really kind of put this to bed and have a better understanding, because it generated a lot of passion. So obviously people are interested. They want to know what's going on with Robotech. So that's why I'm turning to you. So what can you tell us about the Robotech franchise? And apparently there's some issue regarding the rights. Is there anything there that you can maybe shed a light upon?
Well, first off, thanks for reaching out to me here so we can clear the air on what's going on. Let me walk you through all the information we can talk about regarding the live-action film, first off, okay? Sony Pictures has the right to make a live-action Robotech movie. And Sony Pictures has the rights to all 85 episodes. They can approach it from any direction they want to approach it from. Okay? That includes all 85 of the original Robotech episodes. Okay? Now, the deal over at Sony, here's who we have attached so far. We have Mark Canton attached as a producer. We have Gianni Nunari attached as a producer. We have Michael Gordon, who wrote 300 and G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra, attached as the writer. And we have James Wan, the director of Furious 7, attached as a director.
That's pretty exciting. So I guess the question becomes, they can take anything that's in those 85 episodes and present it in any way they wish to. Is that correct?
Well, as I said before, Sony has the right to make a live-action Robotech movie from all 85 episodes. They can approach it from any direction they want to approach it from.
And that includes, so when you say all 85 episodes, we're talking basically the entire series of Robotech.
Yeah, the entire series of the entire series of Robotech, all 85 episodes. Now, I can't. Now, folks, I know everyone wants to know this. Well, what's the story going to be about?
No. We're not asking that.
No, not so much that. I'm sure that there are listeners who are probably really wanting to know more about that. I think really we're just trying to maybe get an understanding as to why is there this apparent controversy. I mean, based on what you just shared with us, it sounds really pretty clean cut that Sony can make this. As you said, they can approach us any way they want. They've got the rights to all 85 episodes. So personally, I'm not seeing what the big deal is in terms of why the fan base seems to be so up in a lather.
Or at least
I don't think the fan base is up in a lather. I think this individual may be up in a lather, but the fan base is actually very excited about this. We disclosed this at Anime Expo last year, in Anime Expo 2015 in San Diego Comic-Con. The fans were very excited. They're very excited with our new production team. As you can see, we have an A-list writer, producer, and director team is really excited to make a live-action Robotech movie. And the fans are very, very excited. We have a whole new line of merchandise that came out last year. We have some great things in the pipeline. The fans are very excited about Robotech. They're excited about what's the future holding for the franchise.
Absolutely.
We just celebrated our 30th anniversary in 2015, and we have a lot of great things in the future. So the fans are excited. I can't speak for this individual, but I mean, it sounds like you just came across one individual who wasn't happy with what was written on your website.
Yeah.
Well, all I know is that he lives in Japan, and he's a diehard Robotech fan.
Yeah, and the thing is that we offered him the opportunity to rebut the article that was written, and
no, he turned us down.
He turned us down and said, "I'm not going to do your work for you. You should have vetted it before you published the thing. I can't believe you published it."
And like I said,
okay,
it was a harmless article. It was just my friend simply saying what he would like to see. But at the same time, I mean, and it's not just him. We've got another friend who lives here in the States, and he wrote. His response was actually very civil. But the one similarity in tone is that Sony has no access to Macross.
That's what both of them kept saying. So,
well, all I can say is that Sony has the right to make a live-action film off all 85 episodes of Robotech. They can approach it from any direction they want to approach it from.
Well,
that's all I can tell you right now.
That's what it sounds like.
I don't know what, I mean, it's that's what we can say right now, and that's what the deal is.
Oh,
I mean, it can't get any more clear than that.
No,
it
sounds like.
And this is why I'm glad you guys reached out to me, because it's as you can see, there's a lot of sort of misinformation, for lack of a better term, out there online, and some people sort of will occasionally run with it. And I'm glad you guys reached out to me for a clarification to explain.
Absolutely.
Look, here's what's going on. I mean, it's a real simple answer to the question. Once again, can we talk about the plot or the characters or what mecha's going to be in it? The answer is no. We can't do that right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, Sony has the right to make a live-action Robotech movie from all 85 episodes. They can approach it from any direction they want to approach it from.
Great. That tells us and kind of clears up exactly what we were kind of wanting to know. And I appreciate you joining us to help us understand that. So if I can switch gears just a little bit. And so for somebody that is just discovering anime? Why Robotech? Why is it so hot?
That's going to be my next question.
Why should they look at it?
What is it about Robotech? Because obviously, from what little that I've read, this was like the first anime to come out of Japan that really took not just the United States by storm, but the whole world. It just grabbed the entire world's attention. There was something really amazing about this particular saga. What is it about Robotech that has just got people completely, almost stampeding to get more content?
Yeah, I mean, well, let's talk a little history of Robotech first. As I mentioned before, Robotech is 30 years old. It came out in 1985. And Robotech launched the modern-day anime boom you see today, because Robotech was very unique for its time and still is. It has serialized storytelling like 24 has. They told, they killed characters, and unlike other science fiction, which I'm sure you guys know, they actually stayed dead. And
well, that's refreshing.
Yes, they had complex storylines and three-dimensional characters, and it treated the audience with respect. It didn't hide from anything. They didn't try to tone, they didn't try to do a lot of things in a lot of anime at the time of editing out certain things to making sure a character didn't die. If a character died, they died. They died on screen, and they stayed dead. And they had serialized storytelling, which was unheard of even on broadcast network television at the time. And now we have now today serialized storytelling and deaths of characters are almost par for the course. Look at 24, look at Walking Dead, look at all these other series. But back then in 1985, an animated program doing all this stuff was just incredibly groundbreaking. And fans all over, not just North America, but all over the world ate it up. And Robotech's popular in North America, it's popular in Latin America, it's popular in China, it's popular in Australia, it's popular in Europe. I mean, Robotech fans, as I'm sure you guys, this all started from a fan in Norway. And as you can see, it generates such passion with the fans. They're so excited about the show. And it was just so groundbreaking in 1985 that it's still going strong today.
Sounds like something that a type of show where its creators realize that their fan base is a lot more intelligent than maybe some big major studios here in America might think.
Yeah, I mean, that's when the original production team took the 3 animated series from Japan, Macross, Southern Cross, and Mospeada, and merged them into Robotech. That was the aspect they did. They said, let's treat the audience with respect. Let's write this like we would any other show, a live-action show, or any other mature show that's out there. And that's what they did, and that's what the audience responded to. It's a show that assumed its audience had a brain and could think, and that's the key thing of Robotech's. One of Robotech's great sort of enduring qualities is that it treats the audience with respect.
So we've already discussed that Sony has the rights for this live action film that they're talking about. Was there any when did Sony negotiate to be able to make this live action film?
Sony came into the picture in roughly almost a year ago, in spring of 2015. They came into the picture around spring of 2015, and the minute they found out the rights were available, they made an offer, and we went with them. As you see, too, we have a great producing team. Mark Canton has produced such films as Spiderwick Chronicles, Cake with Jennifer, and Aniston. He was president of Warner Brothers. He was the man who hired Tim Burton to direct Batman. He also was then a former chairman of Sony Pictures. He greenlit The Fifth Element and Few Good Men and Men in Black. Gianni Nunari produced 300 with Mark Canton, and produced 300 Rise of an Empire with Mark Canton. He also produced Shutter Island starring Leo DiCaprio and The Departed starring Jack Nicholson. And of course we have a great production team. We have a great writer in Michael Gordon, who wrote 300 and G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra. And we have a great director in James Wan, who directed Furious 7.
So I know that with the director, I've seen his IMDb and the projects that he's working on. I know, like, for example, that he's going to be directing the new Aquaman movie for Warner Brothers. Given the schedule that he is going to be having with projects that he's got coming up, what do you have any kind of idea as to what sort of production timetable Sony is possibly looking at in terms of, getting this movie off the ground. I assume they're still in pre-production mode right now, and for something that's going to be this big, I would imagine that the pre-production has got to be as equally big.
I can't. That's something I really can't discuss right now. That we can't discuss. We can't reveal that information at this time. So
we understand that.
Not a problem.
We were just asking, just in case there
there
might be some.
Still very early in the process.
Yeah.
So right now Michael Gordon's right. Focus on the script and focus on getting a good screenplay. That's where they are right now. That's why I can definitely say where they are right now.
So how did you get attached to just Robotech? Period.
Yeah. What is your story?
That's a long story. Back in the early 2000s, I heard through the grapevine that Harmony Gold wanted to restarting up the franchise, and I remember I contacted Harmony Gold and I said, "Hi, you don't know who I am, but I've worked in Hollywood for many years, and here's my background, here's my resume. I think it might be of some help. I really want to work on Robotech." It took me 2 years of lobbying to eventually get in, and they hired me as this low-level assistant. I've worked my way up to vice president of marketing now. So that's the short story of how it all happened. So
wow.
I've been at Harmony Gold since September of 2004.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah.
To be able to, and I assume that you're a Robotech fan then as well.
Oh yeah, no, I am a fan. I remember I ran home. Actually, I woke up, ran home from school every day to watch it on 3:30 on WTIC channel 61 in Connecticut. And when they switched it to 6 in the morning, I woke up at 5:30 to shower, and then I made sure to watch Robotech at 6 in the morning before I went to school. So I'm a huge Robotech fan, and it's really great to work on a franchise, work on something that you love every day.
Yeah, you say you ran home from school every day in 1985. It's like.
Okay, yeah.
I was already an adult by then.
I'm sorry. I think I need my walker.
Yeah, we're old farts. So.
That's the thing, though. A lot of fans have told us, I woke up I ran home from school every day because I couldn't afford to miss an episode. I needed to find out what happened next. I need to find out what happened to Rick Hunter or Dana Sterling or Scott Bernard, and I needed to know that. I had to run home from school every day, and it's so great to see the franchise, doing new stuff and making new stuff and that sort of thing. So that's why we have very passionate fans, because it just moved the show, moved them so much.
It sounds like it. Yeah.
You got me curious on something here. Now I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to the vice president of marketing now. I'm talking to. I want to talk to Kev the fan here.
Mm-hmm.
So. I know that with most television shows, whenever they start, it doesn't matter what the series is, it usually takes a certain amount of time before it really starts to hit its stride, and then fans, the fan base all of a sudden just starts to really generate. For somebody who wants to investigate Robotech,
mm-hmm.
how much time should they invest in the series? How many episodes should they watch before, in your opinion, how many episodes before you think the average fan would all of a sudden say, "Oh my God, I get it"?
That's sort of a tough question to answer, because each fan is drawn to Robotech for different reasons. I remember from the very first episode. I'll just explain my experience. The first, as I mentioned before, Robotech is serialized, which was unheard of for an animated show back in the 1980s. And the way Robotech, normally in most animated programs, particularly of the 1980s, everything was the reset button. Everything had to be reset by the end of the episode. The bad guys were the bad guys were, the good guys were the good guys were. But Robotech ended on this sort of cliffhanger in the first episode. And just as things were just starting to get going, just as the aliens attacked, that's where the first episode ended. And I had to tune in tomorrow to find out what happened next.
Yeah, so I suppose that's probably what caused some of the fan base to immediately do that, because of the serialization of it. Yeah.
Right, exactly. The serialization was just so unheard of. Wait a minute. Everything was just starting, and now it stopped. I got to find out what happens. I got to tune in tomorrow to find out what happens to Rick Hunter next. And wow, I gotta see that. And so that's what drew me into it. I'm like, my gosh. Even the big primetime network shows didn't do that. They didn't do that in the 1980s. They even had their sort of reset buttons. And that was just unheard of. So the next day I had to tune in again, oh my God, the story's continuing. And the characters are growing and evolving right before my very eyes, and I'm trying to do this without giving away a lot of spoilers, but it's like that was so unique and that was so fascinating. I just remember the first 5 episodes, and when I first saw it, it was 8:30 in the morning, and the only way I was able to watch it was because I was on school vacation.
Wow.
So when my school vacation ended, I couldn't watch the rest of the show. I knew it was on at 8:30, but I couldn't watch the rest of the show. And then luckily they moved it to 3:30 in the afternoon. They started from the first episode again.
Oh wow.
So I was able to watch it. I was very lucky. I sort of lucked out. But but even though I couldn't watch it, I kept on thinking, what's going on with the show? Because like even at the 5th episode of Robotech, and the Robotech fans will know what I'm talking about, there's sort of like a cliffhanger with the ship. And the characters on board the ship, and what's going to happen next? So I couldn't figure it out because I couldn't watch it at 8:30 in the morning because I was at school at the time. But luckily, when they moved it, I'm at school thinking, what's going on with this show?
Yeah.
It was unlike anything I ever saw before. Whereas most other animated programs of that time, as I'm sure and you guys probably know this very well,
Right.
The characters always ended up back almost right where they started. The bad guys' plot was foiled. The good guys were back at their base. The bad guys were back at their base. And then in the next episode, it all sort of started all over again, the reset button. Here, there's nothing like that.
Yeah.
There's no reset button. It kept on going forward, and you didn't know where it was going to go.
Is this a typical format in just anime, period?
There's
Because-
so much anime.
Well, because
anime is such a vast thing.
Yeah,
so
'cause-
I don't want to. I don't think it's easy to make that generalization.
But the only
I mean,
reason
a lot of anime is serialized, other anime is not serialized. It's the anime industry is like our live action film industry.
right.
We have all types of in our live action film our industry. We have shows aimed at kids. We have shows aimed at adults. We have action movies. We have dramas. We have comedies. Anime's the same way. So some animes have serialized episodes. Other animes don't. Other animes will run hundreds of episodes. Other animes only run maybe 24 episodes, and then they're done. Their stories have ended. I mean, it's you can't make that sort of generalization because the anime industry and the amount of anime produced is just so vast and diverse.
Because I remember as a kid, I mean, obviously there was, well, not obviously, what am I saying? There were some animes that were very much geared to children, which
Right.
were very, I'd say procedural. I mean, they would end, each story completely stood on its own. But I remember when I was in high school being introduced to something called Star Blazers, which absolutely blew my mind, and was in love with that I mean, that was my go-to show. And how, like with you and Robotech, that always aired like around 3:30 in the afternoon, and I had to run home, and I was in high school.
Yep. You had to run home.
I had to run home.
Find out.
I was not going to miss an episode of this because I thought the storytelling was that incredibly strong. Now, I have seen that, and this is probably going to be technically a very dumb question on my part, so please forgive me, because I don't know the answer to this. But I've noticed that Robotech is available on DVD. Now,
Yes.
I don't know if this is possible. Can anime shows like this, can they be remastered and maybe eventually be marketed for Blu-ray with lots of fun little bonus little thingies here for the diehard fans to want to sink their teeth into?
This is actually a great question. We are asked about this constantly at conventions. The original the original 3 anime shows that make up Robotech, Macross, Southern Cross, and Mospeada, are on 16mm film.
Ooh, lovely.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, it's just so you know, a lot of the television anime of the time of the early 1980s were aired off 16mm film chains.
Oh, I didn't know
Wow.
that.
Yeah. So now, can you take 16mm film and create an HD?
Yeah, can you remaster 16mm? That's
yes,
the question.
You can, but Robotech A has a lot of edits. And of course the film, of course 16mm, that's a huge expense. So, and you have to remember though too, is that unlike the Japanese market, the North American, particularly the North American market, people want value they want value.
Right.
As you know, the original Robotech right now available on Amazon for almost like $35, all 85 episodes plus 3 movies plus 10 hours of bonus features. It's a great deal.
Right.
So you have to find a way to remaster it in a way that obviously it's good, but also at a price point people can afford.
Yeah.
And just remember, 16. Whenever I'm at a convention, people say, will this come out? Will Robotech ever come out on Blu-ray? I just say it's on 16 millimeter film, and you see everyone just sort of with the slate, like in depression, because they know sort of like unlike other like feature films or even television shows, like the original Star Trek series was shot in 35 millimeter.
Right.
So you can easily, doing a Blu-ray up convert is not too difficult.
Yeah.
Here, this is 16 millimeter film.
Yeah.
And already you're in a whole different ballgame.
I have a marketing suggestion for you, and you could make a fortune.
Oh God, what?
You do one episode at a time. So the first one, you have the expense on the first one, and if it succeeds, great, you do the second one. But if it doesn't, then you write that one off.
Oh man!
And then you do another episode, and then you do another. You could make a fortune.
There's going to be a lynching if they do that.
Well, to sort of take the question, I mentioned this before, the North American DVD market is such where you have to deliver value. The Robotech DVD that I mentioned before, the 20-disc collection, which you can see on Amazon right now, it sells very well because it gives all this material at a good price point. And that's the thing to make this work today. As we all know, and you guys know this very well, the DVD market has, really deteriorated over the past 8 or 9 years, and it's, DVDs are still sold. People will still buy them, but you have to deliver value for the money.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. The era of selling 2 episodes on one DVD is over. That era died a long time ago.
Oh darn!
You have to do it. You have to. If you want to put out something on DVD, you have to deliver good value, or else people will not buy it. They'll wait. We have other options now. They'll wait for Netflix, the streaming revolution.
Exactly. We have a whole room full of DVDs and Blu-rays, and it is rare. I mean, we would every payday, which we were both being paid, we got paid every week of every month because it was just the way our income sources worked. We were at Best Buy buying 2 and 3 and 4 DVDs every week.
Yeah, but the DVD market was still pretty new then.
Yeah, and then it's of course we haven't bought a DVD or a Blu-ray
in a long time. I
months.
mean, everything now we buy digital download. In fact, that's how we got the first first Robotech episode. We got it off Amazon.
Yeah,
Amazon Fire, because that seemed to be the best way to do it.
to be introduced to it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just curious. Are there any other anime products that really grabbed your attention when you were growing up? Just curiosity.
Well, ironically, to tell you another one, and it ties in with Robotech, it's Voltron.
Yes.
What started me, what led me to Robotech was, before Robotech in 1984, I ran home from school every day because I wanted to watch the Voltron Power Hour on WTIC Channel 61 in Connecticut. And I was trying, and what led me to look for Robotech was, I was trying to look for an episode of Vehicle Voltron, because I'm a huge fan of Vehicle Voltron. And I was tuned on Channel 61 thinking they might show an episode while I was home on school vacation, and they said, stay tuned for a new show called Robotech. And that is how I discovered Robotech, is through Vehicle Team Voltron.
Wow.
And very recently, we teamed up with our friends at World Events, the owners of Voltron. We did a Robotech Voltron crossover comic book.
Far out.
Oh yeah, and so it was a great time had by all. It was great for us to work together, and we help each other out when we can. It's we're really proud with our friendship with World Events Productions, and that was an anime series that grabbed me as well. And the thing was that with Robotech, I think this is going back to sort of the original point of why Robotech is so popular. One of the things that drew me was that as you're growing up, you want your shows to become more sophisticated. And one of the big problems with animation, particularly in the 1980s, was that as the kids grew up, the animation did not evolve with them. It didn't grow up with them. There weren't shows that were able to cater to their needs and wants as they grew older. Robotech was the show that did that. Robotech was the show that allowed you, that was sophisticated, and allowed you, as you got older, to enjoy it and respect you as an adult. That was the key thing. And that's why I think Robotech was is so popular because as you wanted more from your animation, Robotech was there. Today it's different. Now we have the Pixar movies, we have other animated series like The Simpsons and King of the Hill and Futurama and Family Guy that that cater to older audiences, which is great. But at the time, Robotech was like one of the only shows on television that did that, and that's why I think you have such a passionate fan base that still goes strong 30 years later.
Yeah,
well, it's also a
that's
science fiction, and so it's clearly appealing to multiple geek demographics.
Exactly. That's another good point as well.
Yep.
Well, Kevin, I really want to thank you. You were very, you really opened our eyes.
Yes.
You've opened
thank
mine,
you.
and you've given me even more incentive to want to explore further into the entire Robotech madness that is out there. Not the madness, but really, I want to explore this
Madness
entire
in a good
franchise.
way.
Yeah, madness in a good way. I really want to explore this series now and see where it goes, because I was always a big fan of the giant robot kind of thing. I mean, I was introduced to it with an anime called UFO many years ago.
Yeah.
And anytime I see giant robots anime, I gotta watch. I just can't help it. It's in my blood.
He actually had a Lost in Space robot
Oh
as a
yeah,
kid too.
well.
Danger, Will Robinson.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah, it's
yes.
lost a long time ago. Anyway, but again, I really want to thank you. This was very, very informative on so many levels. So, for anybody who wants to get in contact with you, if they want to learn more about what's happening in the world of Robotech, be it the marketing of merchandise or even with the movie, how can they do that? How can they look you up?
Or
for
look up
fans who-
Robotech, period.
For fans who are interested in buying in getting the series, it's available on Amazon right now. If you if you go into Amazon.com and put in Robotech into the search bar, you'll see Robotech the complete set. It's a 20-disc collection. It's available for $38. It includes all 85 episodes, 3 feature films, 10 hours of bonus features. It's an outstanding value. It's a great way for fans who are interested in getting into Robotech for the first time. It's the whole kit and caboodle is right there for the animated series. If you want to reach out to us on Facebook, we're at facebook.com/Robotech. We're on Twitter at twitter.com/RobotechNews. And of course, there's the Robotech.com website at www.robotech.com.
Outstanding. I can't thank you enough. I mean, seriously, this was excellent.
Yes.
Well, no, guys, I just want to say again, thank you for having me on to help clear the air on some of these issues. I'm more than happy to sit down and talk with any press or blogger or podcast who wants to find out what's really going on. And if you're a press outlet and you're listening to this, you can reach me directly at here's my email address. It's Kev, K-E-V as in victory, at robotech.com.
You heard it here.
You heard it here. Thank you, Kevin McKeever, VP of Marketing for Robotech at Harmony Gold.
Thank you very much.
Ben, Keith, once again, thank you for having me on. I really enjoyed talking to you.
We enjoy talking to you too.
Hey, this is Robert Palmer of I'm Alone the Movie.
And Michael Weiss from I Am Alone the Movie.
And you're listening to the Two Gay Geeks.
And if you don't know what that sound is, that is the sound for our birthdays. Here are a few selected birthdays for February 1st through February the 7th, 2016. February 1st, Elizabeth Sladen.
Who I think probably became the most popular Doctor Who companion because of her spin-off shows.
Yep.
I adored her, and the world mourned when she left
Oh,
us
God.
way too soon.
Just way too soon.
Way too soon.
Way too soon. And
Warning.
Danger, Will Robinson. It is Bill Moomey's birthday, February 1st. February 2nd, Brent Spiner. And Ina Garten. She is a little chef that I've used quite a few of her recipes.
Oh.
I like the way she does certain things, so I just had to put her on the list.
Well, that's fair enough. I mean, you, as you've said, you name it, we talk about it, and cooking is one of your geeky passions. So
Yes,
absolutely, she's worthy of being there.
I definitely use her roasted tomato recipe.
Oh, and
So,
that's a popular recipe.
Yes, your mother seems
My
to
mom
like
loves it.
Yeah, everybody's had my roasted tomatoes, loves them. So Ina Garten is to thanks for that. Also, February 2nd, Michael T. Weiss.
Oh, The Pretender.
The Pretender.
Yes.
Among other things.
Among other things, and Jeffrey, and
Yes.
he's a nice old gay guy himself, and would love to see him do more stuff.
Yeah, actually, we have to see where he's been lately.
Yeah, really.
February 3rd, Warwick Davis. And
Willow.
Willow, yes, and Nathan Lane. February 4th, Rosa Parks and George Romero.
Oh, Horror King.
Yes, absolutely. Night of the Living Dead. February 5th, Michael Sheen. He was the voice of...
He was the Cheshire Cat. Was he Cheshire Cat?
maybe in the Cheshire Cat. He was.
We know
also
that he provided the voice of House in the
Doctor
Doctor's
Who,
Wife.
as well as being in Tron Legacy,
Right.
as well as a number of other things that just amazing what he has done. February 6th, Zsa Zsa Gabor, Rip Torn, Patrick McNee, and Francois Truffaut. He was
Very famous French filmmaker who
absolutely.
also appeared in the American movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yes. February 7th, Larry Buster Crabbe.
Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, Tarzan.
All of that stuff.
Yeah.
And that is the birthdays for this week.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Forget about whether Han shot first. He did. Is it true that Han Solo teamed up with a 6-foot green rabbit? Did Darth Vader profess a devotion to the immortal gods of the Sith? And did Leia's unhealthy attraction to her brother grow for years? Ew. Hi, I'm voice actor Michael Corley, and I want to answer these questions and more on the VoxBox Star Wars Comic Book Podcast. Each VoxBox episode covers classic Star Wars comics, starting with the original Marvel series in 1977 all the way to the present day. So tune in, have some fun, and may the Force be with you at VoxBoxPodcast.com.
Go give a listen to our friends over at VoxBox Star Wars Podcast.
Yes, and a segment that I had recorded for them, doing some lines as Han Solo, although I'm nowhere as good as Harrison Ford. Still, that scene just went live. I got the email the other day.
How about that? So it's kind of fortuitous that
No kidding.
we did put it VoxBox in there. I didn't know that. All right. Guess what's next? And that is our listener feedback section.
And as always,
another epic.
Yeah, you guys are just amazing.
We love it. We love it. Thank you.
Every time I think, oh, there's not that much, and then I start compiling, I'm like, oh my, you people had a lot to say.
Yeah.
So starting off, we had an interesting little discussion in our last week's episode 57, where we were talking about submissions and feedback. And we got a response from Brian Arkle Weber. And he wrote, "It's a tragedy these days that anime and haters seem to go hand in hand. Some of the worst harassers on Twitters, for instance, have anime avatars. Enough so that many critics and journalists I know reflexively ignore any mentions they get that come from an anime avatar. And while there are many animes I love, I can't blame them in the slightest. Makes me glad I never had an anime avatar. I'd rather not risk being auto-blocked. Oh, and of course, these Twitter asshats never seem to like the good anime. Their anime avatars almost always come from the worst, most objectifying, borderline child porn with 13-year-olds with triple G cup sizes and spines that defy the laws of physics. Never the good stuff like Madoka Magica or Attack on Titan."
Thank you, Brian.
In the words of Michael Armenegay, wow.
Yeah, I can just hear him say it.
Yeah, me too. And also, regarding that same topic, we got a message from SF Edwards, or better known as Sean from Edwards. He wrote, nice episode, guys. Nice episode, guys. The interview went well, as did the comments about feedback. I must have missed the vitriol-filled comment. When I heard you talking about it, I must have missed who said it because I thought you were talking about me until Ben mentioned that I left a more appropriate comment. I knew I was snarky, a little in it, but didn't mean to offend. I almost want to see that comment now. I am pretty active in the Macross fandom community and could probably figure out who left it or talk to them about it. Some are quite passionate on both Macross purist and Robotech file sides, and I am interested to hear what Kevin McKeever has to say, if he will toe the HG line or reveal that Sony has reached a deal with Big West.
Well, you just heard it, so.
Yeah, you just heard the interview, so, if you want to, leave some more feedback on that, Sean.
Yeah, anybody.
Yeah, very interested in that. And then we got another comment. This time it was just in regards to our interview with Pia Thrasher,
yes.
and this was from Pia Thrasher. She writes, "Great podcast, and thank you for having me on and covering up my bleep-worthy cussing."
Yes.
Not a problem.
Not a problem.
Not a problem. And then we also talked a little bit last week about the Pee Wee Herman trailer, as well as the robot. I saw, as well as the. Oh my! I can't believe we just degenerated to that. Wow. Regarding the Pee Wee Herman trailer, I had to say that out fast now, as well as the Robotech discussion from last week's episode. Good friend of the show, Scott Linder, wrote, "Woohoo! Another great podcast, you guys. Can you believe it? Another Pee Wee Herman movie." Doing happy dance. As a big fan of Robotech back in the 80s, I'm interested to see what they do with the proposed Robotech movie. I hope it stays true to the original. Well, as we just said regarding to Sean, Kevin, take a listen to the interview with Kevin and kind of see what he has to say about it. See what your take is on that.
Yeah.
And then last week, we ran a story on our website about the trailer for the new Justice League versus Teen Titans movie. And I should again point out that the link for this and some of our other stories will be on our website that's a part of this show, and that's tggeeks.com.
The article, yes.
The article, yes. We received some feedback from Faces and Aces LV podcast. You can find them on Twitter, and they wrote, "Jason O'Mara has been killing it as Batman in the DC animated universe, and Damian is starting to be my favorite Robin." Okay. To be honest, I've heard a little bit of Jason O'Mara. I don't follow too many of the animated cartoons because it's kind of hard for us to get them because we cut the wire so long ago.
Cut the cord.
So it's kind of hard for us to follow all of that. I have been able to follow some of it that is available on Hulu and Netflix. We also got a response from Crazy Joe saying, "Still trying to force Jamie Reyes down our collective throats, I see." And then he writes, #BringBackTedCord. And actually, I do know what he's talking about. Yes, Jamie is the latest character to become the Blue Beetle. He's not the original Blue Beetle, so I understand, Crazy Joe. It will be interesting to see if they did bring back Ted Kord. I understand Ted Kord, the character, is dead. I could be wrong. It's kind of hard to keep track of all the different timelines, the different universes. So if I'm wrong, I apologize. And then we got another message from Brian Arkelweber saying, I might be more interested if it was based on the Technis Imperative, but that's obviously not going to be the case since the promo images clearly show Cyborg being on the Justice League side. Also, Jamie Reyes is awesome. Pre-New 52 anyway. No comment on post-reboot when they got rid of one of the things that made him interesting. In other words, the supportive family who knew about and encouraged his superhero going, a thing very few comic book heroes have. Well, okay, I'm going to leave it at that because I'm really not all that up on my pre-New 52 and post-New 52. To be honest, I really get messed up every time they do these big Universal reboots and then trying to keep track of all the timelines. I mean, I was able to do it a little bit after they did the old Crisis on Infinite Earths ages ago, and there's been way too many comic book reboots. I can't follow it anymore.
Too many.
And then last week, we also ran a story about how Marvel and Star Wars movies are going to be continuing. And Keith and I
talk about that.
We're going to have a little bit of chat about that in
yeah.
a bit. But good friend Scott Linder wrote, as long as they don't compromise on the quality of movies, I'm fine with this. I've been very happy with how Marvel has handled all the movies they've put out so far.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about that. And then we also did a story about how the series Marvel Most Wanted is going to have a classic character join the show. And just for a little background, it's just going to be a character named David Fortune. He was in the comic book. He was an associate of Mockingbird, and he will be a part of this new series. And Crazy Joe had this to say: I would still rather no spinoff at all. S.H.I.E.L.D. is fine as is. I like Mockingbird and Hunter as part of the ensemble. I wish ABC would kill this spinoff.
Well, they might.
They might, although I don't think they're going to. And my comment on that is, yes, Bobby and Lance have been really very good with that chemistry, but let's be honest, with the way things are going in that show, and we'll get a better sense of it when it comes back from its winter break once Agent Carter is done. But if they're going to be recruiting more Inhumans, because remember, there was talk about Project Caterpillar at the end of last season, so I kind of get the feeling they're going to be trying to recruit more Inhumans as part of their team. And if they do that, that's going to relegate Bobby and Lance really to the background. It's going to kind of reduce their screen time, and they've got awesome chemistry. And I'd rather see them have more chemistry on a show where they're ahead of it, where they're like the top characters, as opposed to being part of an ensemble that is so big that they get like maybe 10 minutes of screen time per show. That's not fair to them. If that. It's not fair to them. So I'd rather see them be a part of Marvel's Most Wanted. I think they might be better suited to that, especially if the show is going to go very mutant-oriented, Inhuman kind of thing, because that really looks like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to be going these days. Yeah. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. And then lastly, we also ran a story about Stephen Amell is coming back to do a guest stint on DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Now, in the story, I kind of hinted at, well, why bring him back so soon? It should be pointed out that this is going to be a much older Oliver Queen. One that's going to be sporting the goatee.
The goatee. The
goatee that has been a trademark of the Oliver Queen character in the DC comic book. Oliver Queen Stephen Amell had gone on, he posted on Twitter last year, I think, never doing the goatee on Arrow. The series could run for 14 years, and I will never wear it. And then he just posted a Facebook video, and that's in our story, that he was going to grow the goatee. Well, it is for Legends. So they're going to be meeting a very older Oliver Queen, as well as his son Connor. Yes, so that's what this was all about. And of course, I posed the question. I'm going to ask this out to all of you who are within the listening of my voice. Is it a good idea that DC, or I should say the CW, is bringing Stephen Amell into the show already? Shouldn't we allow the show to kind of be able to stand on its own two legs? I mean, it's enough that they've managed to compile all these regulars that have been in Arrow, have been in Flash, and now they're bringing Stephen Amell back to do a guest stint. Is this a good thing or is it a bad thing? I'm not saying one way or the other. I kind of thought, well, maybe the show needs to be able to stand on its own two legs before they start doing what some might consider to be stunt casting.
Yeah, you never know.
I'm going to, jury's still out on that. In any case, Brian Arco Weber simply had this to say, and this is for all you people who saw the movie Prometheus. Hopefully his old age makeup will look better than Guy Pearce's in Prometheus. Now, I've got the movie. You haven't seen it yet. Guy Pearce, who I think, we fondly remember him from...
several movies.
Well, several movies. I mean, we saw him in The Time Machine, but...
Most importantly... Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Yeah, absolutely. And boy, was he a scream in that movie. Well, he wears some pretty old age makeup in Prometheus, and it's not very flattering in so many ways. He really looks pretty dreadful in that. We'll have to wait and see on that.
Yeah. So, well, my gosh, is that all?
That's it.
That's it. That's all of it.
That's all of it.
Wow. Well, we want to hear from you, our listeners. You are very important to us. We appreciate your feedback. We want to hear your feedback. We want to hear what you like or what you dislike, and we want to hear how you feel about the show, our articles. You can post your comments on Facebook as TG Squared Studios or TG Geeks Webcast, or you can comment on our episodes on tggeeks.com, or you can comment on articles at tggeeks.com, as well as you can call the listener feedback line at 469 TG Geeks and get a shout out on a future episode.
Absolutely.
469-844-3357.
This is Gareth David Lloyd, Yanti from Torchwood, Solus from Dragon Age, and Jacob Fitz from I Am Alone, and you are listening to the Two Gay Geeks.
Okay, I got a couple of things we want to talk about. Now, last week we had a rather interesting little discussion about our thoughts on Legends of Tomorrow. And we admitted that we were kind of meh on the first episode. It felt like that they were really trying to put a lot more just style before substance.
Yeah, it was just
It's a lot of flash, bang, boom,
Yeah.
a lot of action, but there just really wasn't anything that really resonated with us. Of course, we found out later it was a 2-part episode,
Yeah.
which I don't have a problem with.
Just run it together. How many times? Every pilot that is 2-parter is always run together.
I keep thinking that when they did the Flash, they ran it as a 2-hour slot.
Yeah.
And we know they did it with Agent Carter when that came back for season 2.
Yeah.
And I really think that the pilot for Legends of Tomorrow would have served better if they had run both parts, because part 2
Is incredible.
was so much better.
Absolutely.
I mean, we did agree that there was one huge plot point
Yeah.
that we didn't care for that much.
Yeah.
The knife.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, yeah.
But
well,
aside from that,
it's yeah. It's become Legends of Maybe now instead of Legends of Meh.
but more like maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'll watch it next week.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. Part 2 was much better.
And I think one of the things that really helped is they broke the team up into 2 groups, and we were given ample time to really spend a good deal of attention on the interplay between these characters. I mean, for example, seeing Martin Stein interact with his younger self.
That was great.
It was really quite funny. And Victor Garber, who plays Martin, had given a statement to the press about the young actor who plays his younger self. And it was scary watching these 2 actors go off each other, because according to Victor, the younger guy was not trying to impersonate what Victor was doing as Martin. He was actually delivering the lines as he would himself, and the similarities are scary.
Yeah.
It was really enjoyable to watch, and just the interaction was a lot of fun. I really got a huge, enormous kick out of it.
Yeah, it was fun.
And then the whole scene that we got with Ray and Snart.
Yeah.
But these are really good scenes. There's some wonderful development there.
Yeah, they're developing as a team.
And
so
one of
that's
the things,
really good.
one of the things that I remember I felt very concerned about initially was, okay, you got Heatwave and Captain Cold. I mean, these guys, to me, they really seem, especially Heatwave, he just seems like a very 2-dimensional character.
One-trick pony.
Very much a one-trick pony. But he had, actually, it's not in this episode. It's in the next episode. It's in. We saw it in the trailer. So I'm going to refer to that. It's in the trailer for the 3rd episode. He has a line, one simple line, that gave him so much more depth that made me think there's a lot to this guy. and he simply stated, "I thought Rip said we were not supposed to mess with the timeline," or something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing it, but that really opened his character up in ways I didn't imagine. And we got in the episode, we got so much more of that out of Snart.
Right.
In his conversation that he had with Ray. And at the very end, the team is taking a vote. What are they going to do? One of their own has just been taken from them.
Yeah.
So I was immediately turned on to the fact that now we're just not getting very transparent characters. We're getting individuals here who have a stake in what's going on, whether they have ulterior motives or not, notwithstanding. I thought what's going to make this series resonate is if you can give us people that we can get behind.
Yeah. And work as a team and propel the story forward.
Yeah. I was very happy with it, and now I would say that I'm more on board now.
Yeah, I am too. I just wish they'd run both of them together. I think they did a huge disservice to the show itself, because you watch the first one and it wasn't so good, and people probably didn't come back for the second one.
And I know that
that's too bad.
And that is a shame, 'cause I know that a lot of people watched it. I saw a story that the ratings were really just through the roof. I mean, they were higher than anything CW had ever anticipated, and they might have been, I'm not sure, but they might have been the highest ratings that CW ever saw. But you're right, I saw a number of people calling it Legends of Meh.
Yeah.
And a good friend of the show, Mark Biaggi, he posted that he didn't seem to like it. Neil Haffer didn't like it.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that they came back for it a second time.
Yeah, I do too. So
because I thought part 2 really redeemed it. So, and let's hope they keep on this track. I think there's potential here now.
I do too. I hope that they continue on.
Now
we're ready for Agents of Carter.
Agents of Carter. I like how you wrote that.
You know me. I just called it Agents of Carter one time, and now it's stuck.
Now it's stuck. Yeah.
I was intrigued.
I'm very happy with this show. And what's killing me is that the ratings are, at best, they're not improving.
Oh, I love the show. I think
too.
I think there's great chemistry. It's a fun story. It's not as serious as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is, but it adds a little humor in the midst of all the craziness.
Their casting, I think, is delightful. Yes. I so love James Darcy as Jarvis. He is such a delight. I mean, he really is the straight man.
Yes.
In all of this. And I remember I mentioned this when we saw the premiere for season 2, and that is, how gorgeous is Haley Atwell?
Oh my Lord, yes.
She's so beautiful, and to me, seeing her walk, throughout Los Angeles and Hollywood, dressed as lovely as she is, there's something just so unbelievably beautiful about her, and I kept thinking, this series needs to be in Hollywood.
Yes, especially with Howard Stark playing the similarities to Howard Hughes.
Yeah, what were some of the things you noticed?
They have literally ripped off Howard Hughes.
What were some of the things that you caught on?
Well, the biggest thing was the movie that Stark is making. It's The Outlaw.
Uh-huh.
Hello.
That was
hello.
And to our listeners who aren't really
Howard
up on
Hughes did film The Outlaw. I believe it was his first film, and it's a dreadful film. It's just dreadful. But
did Howard Hughes make any good movies?
I don't think so.
It was not his specialty.
Yeah, it was just a handful. So I don't recall, exactly how many he did. Let's look that up.
Doing a quick look, but some of the things that I love the premise of Agent Carter so far. There's some of the things that they're doing here are I've read statements from Marvel. I think from I'm not sure if it was from the show. I think it was from the showrunners. how what's going on here will actually tie into the new Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
So I'm very intrigued with that. Now, you're looking up Howard Hughes right at this moment.
Yeah, it was actually, The Outlaw was 1943. I believe it was his first film, and he did, looks like, oh my gosh, he did quite a few films.
Well, remember
it was
back...
not his first film.
Well...
his first film was 1926.
Oh, good heavens.
But 1943, I think the standout with The Outlaw was Jane Russell. That was her first film. That's right. It was Jane Russell's first film.
Isn't that the whole introduce the stainless steel bra thing?
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, that was the thing. But yeah, it's a dreadful film.
Well, but a lot of movies, I mean, well, keep in mind, Hollywood was a completely different industry back then. You could crank out like dozens and dozens and dozens of films. I mean, it wasn't impossible to have a showrunner or a producer, director, whatever, writer, do several movies in a year.
Yeah, and there was interesting little trivial fact. We stayed in Palm Springs at a what was the name of that?
Oh, that first hotel?
Yeah. Not the first hotel, no, but the one that we used to stay at usually.
Oh, that one.
Oh, gosh, I can't remember. Anyway, Howard Hughes had built this little bungalow or series of bungalows in Palm Springs to lure a number of actresses to Palm Springs.
Oh, yes.
So, we've stayed at that hotel a couple of times. It's a bed and breakfast place in Palm Springs. We'll find out. I can't remember what the name of it is now.
That was such a really awesome place,
darn
too.
it.
I know. We need to go back there.
Yeah.
Really great motel. And in any case, what we're getting out of Agent Carter right now, I think, is really intriguing. It kind of kills me. And we had this conversation earlier, oddly enough, when we were watching, I think it was either when we finished watching Elementary or Grimm. I can't remember which, but we made the comment about
I hate episodic television.
We hate episodic television.
Yes.
We're sick of that.
And we were just talking about episodic television with Kevin McKeever. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's something so much fun about mainlining a show, and Agent Carter is one of those now because there is just this, I gotta know what's gonna happen next now. I'm just really intrigued. And what helps is you've given us some really great people.
Yes.
You've given us some characters I can just really get behind. I just so love Peggy Carter.
Yes.
I adore her. I mean, she's not only highly intelligent, highly skilled, highly capable, but hey, I love looking at beauty, and she is a beautiful looking woman. And I love the whole glamour, that really romantic glamour and luster that we see in 1940s Hollywood, and they're just really capitalizing on that image for Agent Carter, and that just makes everything so much more fun. And characters that we saw last year are getting bigger roles. They have a more prominent presence in the series, and it's just so much fun. I'm enjoying Agent Carter. And I really would love to see more people get on board with that, because I don't want to see this show go away anytime soon.
I like it. I know Crazy Joe doesn't like it, and
he doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Did he? I don't remember him saying
that. Yeah, he said he doesn't like Agents of Carter.
Joe, you're breaking my heart.
Unless maybe I made that up. I don't know.
Well, I know
you can scream at me, Joe, if you want to.
He loves Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, but I don't think he likes Agents of Carter. Anyway,
I love Agents of Carter. In any case, now, we talked a little bit about this in our feedback, and that was how Disney is going to be making an infinite number of, I'll just simply say that we did an article on it, and it simply reads, "Never fear, more Marvel and Star Wars movies will be here."
Yeah.
And what happened is they were talking to present Disney chairman Bob Iger, and he says that as far as Disney and Marvel movies go, there are plans that extend way beyond what they've got going on right now. And his actual quote for Star Wars, because everybody's wondering what's going to happen after Episode 9. I mean, we know we've got these side films that are coming out. We got Rogue One that is coming out. And there are others that are on the plate. There's the Han Solo standalone. There's talks of a Boba Fett standalone film.
My Lord.
So everybody's wondering, okay, well, we've got these little side projects here, but we've got, the big trilogy. We just had Episode 7. We got 8 and 9 coming out. And people are wondering, well, what's going to happen after Episode 9? Is that it? And Bob Iger's actual words were that there are plans that extend way beyond episode 9. He wrote, "There will be more after that. I don't know how many. I don't know how often." And then he said, "As for Marvel, you're dealing with thousands and thousands of characters. That will go on forever."
Wow. Good.
Well,
as Scott said, Scott Linder said, I just hope they don't sacrifice the quality, though.
That's the big thing. Now,
it has to be quality.
It's
if it becomes schlock, then
well, there was
just damage the franchise.
Yeah. Now Bob Iger also, he was asked, well, if he thought that fans might grow kind of weary of, for example, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If interest might be fading. And he simply said, "No, I don't think they're getting weary, but I think we keep raising the bar in terms of telling stories that bring them back, that excite them, that make it feel new, and that is what we do for a living."
Yep.
And he's right about that, because I just read a story that test audiences have seen the new Captain America Civil War film, and that movie is actually...
How do we get on that list?
I know, I really want to be on that list. That movie is testing better than Winter Soldier did.
Wow.
And they had like a whole schedule of reshoots to do.
Wow.
And now they've had to maybe we don't need to do as many reshoots. So now they've got all this time on their hands because they had built in this big schedule to do a lot of reshoots had there been some bad testing. It's testing really great. So here's an example of how they're managing to raise the bar. If they can do that with Marvel, then they can potentially go on and on and on and on. With filmmaking technology being what it is, I suppose it's possible, because we did talk about how with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, how James Gunn is going to be using this new filming technique.
Yeah.
So it's possible that they can find new ways to tell a story, maybe find ways to kind of go retro. I just have to kind of wait and see on that. The Star Wars one is the one that's got me more nervous.
Yeah,
because what has made that franchise so successful has been the arc heavy. First with the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy. That's that's a very divisive subject. Some fans actually like it. I admit, I like the prequel trilogy. Maybe not as much as the original, but I do like the prequel trilogy. I do enjoy it. I still watch those movies. There are other people that just simply say maybe they should be scuttled and never seen again.
Yeah.
But we've got the new trilogy now, but those are the thing. That's the glue to everything that we're seeing Star Wars.
Yeah.
Can you continue to tell offshoot films if you finally get rid of that glue that ties it all together? Oh, you're looking up that motel.
Yeah. Or just keep talking.
Yeah. So I'm kind of wondering, can they actually continue to build on the Star Wars universe without having that unifying factor that brings it all together? I don't know. I'd have to kind of wait and see on that. I'm concerned. I would leave it at that. I'd ask the question, and I'm putting it out there for all your listeners. Is this potentially a good thing? And you've heard some of our comments. You heard what Scott had to say. As long as they maintain the quality, is this a good thing to do with these two franchises? To be able to constantly make new films with no end in sight. Would it diminish the property as a whole? I think we'll just have to wait and see on that. I hope not. Marvel, I have a little bit more faith in, because I think Iger's right. There's an infinite number of properties that are there. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. I know they haven't planned that far, and I know that Kevin Feige hasn't planned that far, because I think on his wall he's got an endpoint. So unless he's... I think he's got an endpoint for now, but I'm hoping he's got it open-ended so they can continue to build on it. Because, I know. Yeah, let's do a big... what did they just had a big cataclysm Secret Wars. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that'll be the big thing. They can do a big Marvel Secret Wars movie, and then that will completely reboot everything, and then we can start over from scratch. Oh, God, I hope not.
Yeah.
That would be terrible. Did you find it?
Yes, it's El Mirasol Villas.
That's it.
That's what it is. I'm sorry, guys, if you're listening. I doubt that they are, but if anybody knows about that, we've just talked about El Mirasol Villas in Palm
It's a nice
Springs.
place.
It's a nice little...
It's really charming.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
It is a clothing optional, and it is gay, but so...
But we've never seen anything inappropriate happen there.
Nope. So.
Never at any time. I still would love to see Palm Springs reopen that first place we stayed at.
Yeah.
The one that's closed.
Oh, yeah, the classic... Oh, gosh, I can't remember what it was now.
I can't remember either. I remember we found it the last time we were down there.
Yeah, and it was kind of like on its decline whenever we stayed there.
Yeah, which is a
So,
shame because we
yeah.
ate at the restaurant there. I thought it was a really nice place.
Yeah.
It had a lot of glamour to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see why it was such a popular place when we were there way back then. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
So that's pretty much it for this week. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm curious to think what all of you people have to think about. These things that we talked about. I'm
Let us know, please.
I'm really.
Do.
I'm a little bit on the fence about Disney wanting to keep the Star Wars franchise going because I keep thinking Marvel is a different story. I think they can keep that going, but I'm very worried that by trying to propel Star Wars, especially if you don't have a big series of arc-related movies,
True.
I think the whole thing could then just kind of fray at the seams.
Yeah, well, we'll see. So we got a few follow-up items, as always. Phoenix Comic-Con 2016 in June has announced quite a few guests
They've
this
got
week.
guests coming out. They're already announcing them. I'm
Absolutely,
excited.
some big guests, including Alex Kingston, Jay Lee, and Marv Wolfman.
I met Marv Wolfman a number of years ago at a convention in Oakland. He is like, if you want to talk about anything DC related, especially more historical, this is the guy. He gives a fascinating panel. I was really just like so drawn to everything he had to say. So I'm very excited about him being here. And Alex Kingston, well, I got a funny feeling she's going to have a lot of interesting things to say.
Yes, that's Phoenix Comic-Con, June 2nd through 5th, 2016. Hotel rooms are still available, and memberships are on sale. Keep checking phoenixcomiccon.com for updates.
Absolutely. And now I want to give a special thanks to the Doctor Who Fancast Guide, Doctor Who Talking Who. They are on Twitter, @TalkingWho. You can see the Fancast Guide for yourself by following them on Twitter, and we'll have the link for their Twitter account on our show notes. And the same also applies to our good friend Brian Arkle Weber. He puts out the Arkle Times Post Dispatch News, and you can find him on Twitter. He is Social Justice Scald, and on Twitter he is @Arkle. And Brian also pointed out to something that he's got going on Tumblr right now. He has a page there called Incorrect Star Trek Voyager Quotes.
And some of them are quite funny.
Some of them are amusing.
And not safe for work.
Not safe for work.
Or for children.
No, yeah. And we will have the link for that in our show notes as well.
And we want to give a shout out to The Lookie Show. The twins are a hoot. And they give us lots of love on Twitter as @Lookie Show. And catch their show on YouTube. Look for Lookie Show. If you like old movies, this is the show for you.
I've got a couple old movies that I would really love for them to review. I want them to review Bluebeard's Castle.
Yeah.
That horror film we saw.
Yeah,
I'd love for them to review that.
Yeah.
That could be fun.
Oh, yeah. That would be great.
I'd love that. And we want to, of course, lastly, give a huge shout out to the Facebook group, The Gay Geek, for allowing us to post our episodes on their page. Their URL is facebook.com/groups/thegaygeek, with a very special thanks to moderator Jeremiah Reeves.
Yes, thank you, Jeremiah.
Thank you, Jeremiah. I hope you're listening to the show because we really think you're awesome. And again, I have to say, The Gay Geek, that's a fun group.
It is.
There's a lot of interesting stuff there.
They post a lot of everybody posts some interesting things, interesting questions. The interesting question that you...
Oh, it was a great question that was posted earlier. Yeah.
You asked the question of me.
Yeah, and that was, let's see, oh, my word.
could a Jedi
Could a Jedi using the Force lift Thor's hammer?
And I said, well, my first inclination is to say no because they're in a different universe.
Yeah, which I got a lot of laughs.
Anyway.
But it's a great group.
Yeah,
there's just some fantastic stuff there. I don't think you have to be gay. You just have to be friendly.
Yeah.
You have to be nice because there's no attack on that side. It's just a really great group.
And they try to keep all the not safe for work stuff out of that group.
Yes.
So
it's a really good group.
It's all in fun, all good humor, geeky science fiction, whatever, anime, comics.
It's
film,
all over the
horror
board.
genre, you name it.
A lot of
they have
cosplay.
it.
lot of really, really good cosplay.
Yeah, it's really great. So check it out. Next time. Oh, Lord.
No idea, because
No
things
idea.
keep changing.
Everything changes. I mean, we never expected to have Kevin McKeever, but we wound up with him this week. So
Yeah.
you never know what's going to happen.
Because we sure as heck don't.
Stay tuned next time. Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We're going to have several articles and links on the page. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or the website tggeeks.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-Geeks. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios. I am Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. I bid you peace.
Cheers.